Hey guys, it is Tuesday night. Last week I was meant to do the reading review for week 7. Unfortunately, didn't get time to do it, so I'm going to do it now. Now first up, it was a massive week for comics. I think there was about 117, 118 comics that came out last week. Massive week. Aftershock, Image, IDW, DC, Marvel, the lot. There was loads that came out. I managed to finally get down to a place in space, my LCS, and get some banging comics. Got some variants, got some standard copies, got some A covers, B covers, the lot. I read quite a lot of comics this week, and I have to say, I had a really good week of comics. I read some on digital, I read some on hard copies. It was wicked. I'm just going to dive straight in. This one here was obviously Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy number 6. Now, as you can see, the cover is absolutely fantastic. This is, I think this is variant B that joined on with variant C. This is obviously Poison Ivy. It's in the front room somewhere. We've got it somewhere. But it was wicked. Like, and I've got to say, the story from 1 to 5, really leading up to it, was a really good story. It's a really engaging story. We had the likes of Jason Woodrue. We thought he was the Floronic Man that was after Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn, and he was out to kill him and get his own way. This issue didn't really live up to as much as I thought it was going to. I really was thinking that it was going to end on a note where we kind of know where Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy are going. Are they going to become the heroes that they want to after meeting Batwoman in the previous issue? Is it all going to stand up? Are they going to stand the test of time? Are they going to be the heroes that they want to be? And to be honest, this issue fell a bit flat, if I'm honest. I really didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would do. I mean, the one thing, Harley and Poison Ivy, the narrative between them, the way they work, the way they bond, it's clear to see that they've got a chemistry there, and it's clear to see that they're the best of friends. But when it came down to the battle scenes, I kind of felt a bit empty, because it was like the big reveal was the fact that it wasn't really Ivy that she took out of her apartment and she set on fire to kill Jason Woodrue, the Floronic Man. It was a part of Ivy that was left behind and kind of latched on and grew to become Ivy, and she grew to become the Ivy that Harley wanted her to become. But then we find out that the real Ivy, she's annoyed, she's upset that Harley set on fire to the flat, that basically tried to save her but ended up really trying to kill her unintentionally. And it was just Harley being Harley at the end of the day. I think everyone who's a Harley Quinn fan knows that she's got the best interests of everyone at heart. She's kind of like the villain that we love to love as a hero. And I did love the comic. I really did love the comic. I love the way that, I think it's the way that the characters come together. They're always going to be great together. There's always going to be that animosity between them. Is it right? Is it wrong? But then there's also going to be that battle between good and evil. Do they do the good thing? Do they do the bad thing? Do they become the heroes that they want to be? I mean, they're always going to want to join the Justice League, or they're always going to want to join the Legion of Doom. And it's kind of, these girls are the ones who are on their own. They're the sirens of Gotham City. I think everyone will agree with me that they're the sirens of Gotham City. I did enjoy this comic, I'm not going to lie, and it's a different comic to all the other Harley Quinn comics out there. It is a great comic, I really did enjoy it, but if I'm honest, it didn't live up to the expectations as I was thinking it was going to after how number 5 ended. With number 5 ended, I thought this was going to be a gigantic, massive ending scene. Obviously, we knew that the flower that awakens is actually Ivy. But in this comic, it was kind of like it's Ivy versus Ivy, and Harley's kind of like a spare part. And in the end, I'll tell you what, there's one epic image. I'll put it up on my Instagram. And I'll tell you what, the line work and everything on this, it is incredible. It is incredible, I'm not going to lie. But there is one image that really stood out for me, and I thought it was absolutely insane. And it's a close-up of Harley's crying, and she's like trying to apologise to Ivy. Ivy's not having any of it. I might just have to flash the image up on the digital, but no, here it is, look at that. I'm going to show the digital version of it anyway, but I mean, look at that. If you can actually see how cool that line work is, if I just move my phone out of the way. Honestly, I'm going to put the digital image up, but the line work on this comic is absolutely fantastic. I mean, this cover on its own, this variant cover is sublime. You can see, obviously, on this side, Poison Ivy will join into it. But, I mean, I really enjoyed it. I really did enjoy it, but I kind of felt a little bit let down. It ended on a bit of an anticlimax. It didn't really end how I thought it was going to end. I thought we would see both of them in a kind of Thelma and Louise style, driving off into the sunset. They've got rid of the evil that was trying to kill them, and they're going to start anew as the heroes that we wanted them to be. So, but unfortunately that wasn't the case. It's kind of an open door. We're left with it open. Is Harley going to return as a hero, or is she going to go back to being the clown princess of crime? Is Ivy going to return? How's it going to know? We know that the Ivy that she was with ran back to beat the original Ivy. How did that end? Is there a prequel of this comic coming out? Is there going to be another? Is there going to be a number 7? Who knows? We're going to have to wait and find out. But overall, it was a good comic. It's a good series. As I said on my post on Instagram, if you're up for a bit of light-hearted, comedic, Thelma and Louise style, all action drama, an easy to pick up and put down comic, this is the one for you. It's not going to win no awards, but it's a great little comic to read. It wasn't my read of the week, let's be honest. It wasn't that good. I enjoyed it. I'm a Harley Quinn fan. She can never really do no wrong, but I felt a tiny bit let down for this. Up next, we have the Dollhouse Family number 4. Now, this for me has got darker and darker and grittier as the story's gone on. Hill House Comics are absolutely killing it at the moment, and this has been a welcomed addition. Every week I'm chomping at the bit to see what happens in this story. I mean, at the end of number 3, there was a nail bomb that went off. Someone, I think it's one of the girls that was in that got sucked into the dollhouse from the care home that Alice was in. She got sucked into it. She went and found someone that wanted to commit the crime to kill them in the dollhouse. They're on the back of this bus. Alice and her daughter are on this bus. All of a sudden, someone gets on and wants to kill them because she's in a racist relationship. She's got a mixed race daughter. It's all very close to the bone. It's an amazing comic. I'm not even going to lie. It's absolutely a fantastic comic. The more and more this story goes on, the more and more you're kind of like, I really want to know what's happening. It becomes more of a thriller comic, and as it goes on, it became so much more than a thriller comic. It was a horror comic. The detailing in this comic was fantastic. This was probably my read of the week, if I'm going to be honest. It's a Hill House comic. It was written. It's written by M.R. Carey. Peter Groves does the artwork. Vincent Locke and Chris Peter. Phenomenal. Honestly, I love this comic, and there's quite a twist in it that you didn't think. And I think if you've been reading this, you'll know what I'm talking about. But at the end, the fact that the daughter made a deal with the demon just kind of like blew my mind. The opening of this comic is where they're back in the 1600s, and he travels into this cave and he meets with a demon, and it becomes that the demon is actually an angel, and the angel is basically the Satan possessing this person. I love this comic, and I tell you what, it's a shame that I think it's only a 6-parter, and it's a shame because there's so much more they could do with this. I think if there was to be, I mean, obviously at the moment on Netflix we've got Lock and Key, which is a fantastic comic adaptation. I think I'm 2 or 3 episodes in at the moment. I keep falling asleep because I'm working long hours and stuff, but when I watch it, I'm wide awake, and I've read the comics, and it is so close to the comics. It's fantastic. If there was going to be a TV series from another Hill House, Joe Hill comic, it's either going to be this one or it's going to be Basket Full of Heads. There's so much detailing in this comic and Basket Full of Heads that you can portray into a Netflix TV series that it would be phenomenal. This is ridiculous, and this cover is seriously amazing. It's got a picture of Alice, it's got a picture of her daughter, and you kind of, when you're looking at the comic, you're like, I wonder what's happening next. If you're a fan of Hill House Comics, if you're a fan of horror comics, and you've been following the likes of Sea Dogs, the Lolo Woods, Basket Full of Heads, this is one you need to get into. This one and Daphne Bryan are phenomenal. Seriously, Basket Full of Heads set the bar, and then you got the Dollhouse Family. Then you got Daphne Bryan, and I tell you what, the Lolo Woods. I'm reading that. I think there's only 2 issues. I think number 3 comes out tomorrow, but it is. Hill House Comics are absolutely killing it. They changed my vision on horror comics, and if you want to get into a decent horror comic, get into this one. There's some seriously amazing pages on it. I'm going to flash up some as I'm doing the talk over on this so you can see what I'm talking about, but this was another fantastic comic of week number 7. Up next, we have got Marvel's X. Now this was wicked. This is going to be big. I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago when this first came out. This is going to be massive. Now, the synopsis of this comic is that there's a massive World War Z type of mutation that's happened across the world. People are turning into mutants, they're dying. It's basically a new form of mutation has become apparent in the world, in the universe, and there's one guy called David. He hasn't been affected, and he literally leaves his dying parents. His parents have died. He leaves his nan. He leaves his sister, who's become a mutant, and she's flown off. He leaves them in search of the superheroes that are in New York. So he's after the likes of Captain America. He's after the likes of Iron Man, Spider-Man, the Fantastic Four. In this comic, at the end of the last one, he hits the ride with someone called Jim. I think, let's go with Jim. He hits the ride with someone called Jim, and he jumps in, and he's like kind of wary, he doesn't really know what to do, and he's wearing, the only thing he's got is that when he leaves at night, so people don't think that he's a human, he wears a Green Goblin mask, and that makes him fit in, so when he goes down to the shops to get his groceries for his nan and everything, that kind of fits in. Now this carries on into number 2, so as I mentioned, he's in his truck. We enter the story where the truck's driving into a tunnel, and the guy's talking to him and saying, I've got to turn off all the lights, because if these things see the lights, they're attracted to it, they're going to kill us. And I'll tell you what, there's one image in this comic, let me show you now. I will be showing you up on the screen, but it is this one here, and it shows all the zombies and demons surrounding the car. It is this one here, bear with me. It's this image here, as you'll see there. It's that image there, as you can see. They're all surrounding it in the top left hand corner, just there. They're all surrounding it, and I'll tell you what, it kind of reminded me of, I think it was season 1 of The Walking Dead, where Rick and Glenn are trapped in the alleyway and all the zombies are surrounding them, and then there's the Mustang that pulls up and they drive off in there. This comic, there's a massive twist in it, and the twist is that the guy that's driving the car, that's driving the truck, the truck gets set on fire, and he goes, these demons and zombies haven't even heard what fire is about, and then he sets a light. And I'll tell you what, this was a moment in the comic where I actually went, you know, when it really grabs you, and I was like, oh my god, the guy that he's been driving with through Ohio, through Pennsylvania, it was the Ghost Rider. Oh my god, it was insane. And I tell you what, from there the comic just got better and better. He's trying to he runs away from him because he's scared of the Ghost Rider, because I don't really think that he's heard of him, and he thinks he's after him. All he wants to do is meet Captain America. Captain America's his idol. Every now and again he's like praying, oh my god, Captain America, can you come and save me? I think there's a point in this comic where he's trying to find somewhere to stay that night, and he wants to get up higher and higher, so he climbs on top of this building. When he gets on top of this building, there's he can hear a thing that's coming after him, and all he does is sit there and he prays to Captain America. He goes, Captain America, you're obviously out saving the world at the moment and trying to realise what's happened, but please can you put a barrier around me and protect me from what's trying to kill me. He survives the night. We don't know what killed him. He survives the night, and luckily enough, the next day he climbs down, he goes into a shop to try and get some food to survive, and yet again he's attacked. One person swings down, knows his name, goes, hey David, I've got this. It's the one and only, the friendly neighbourhood. It's Spider-Man, the Peter Parker that we all know and love. He kind of swings down, saves David. From there, he goes into Peter Parker's house, meets his daughter May, and from there we're introduced to Daredevil. We find out about Captain America. There's so much going on in this comic. It's absolutely fantastic, and I'll tell you what, this is going to be massive. I can see the likes of the Fantastic Four appearing, Iron Man, Hulk. There's a Predator that's after David because he's the only human boy left, and I think he's going to play a massive part into the next superhero that's introduced to this comic. Marvel X, it's the way forward. I wasn't really a massive follower. I'm not really a massive follower of the X-Men, I'm going to be honest, but I have been reading X-Men and Fantastic Four, and I'll tell you what, if that's one comic that's going to turn me towards that, this is the start of it. This is the #1 comic for Marvel X that's turning into the X-Men, Fantastic Four, the Marvel Universe, the MCU now. It's all kicking off, and I was telling you what now, it would start with this comic. If you haven't been able to get your hands on #1, make sure you do. This is a really, really strong comic, and I'll tell you what, it's absolutely amazing. Let me know what you think once you've read it. Tell me if I'm wrong. I really liked it. I thought the premise of like having Daredevil enter, and then there's some Easter eggs in there. There's like some Daredevil, Matt Murdock posters, Spider-Man's in it. It's fantastic. I can't stop talking about this comic. It's absolutely amazing. I read it again just before I come on to do this video because I loved it so much. Let's see what we got next. I think it is Nebula. Now, this was a comic that I wasn't really going to pick up. It wasn't really on my pull list, and I went down to a place in space, and luckily enough they had it there, so I weren't really going to turn it away. I thought, yeah, might as well give it a read. And I weren't really that disappointed, if I'm honest. It's Nebula's first ever solo story that she's done, and she's got the well, as soon as you open the comics, I instantly thought she's got the traits of her father, Thanos, running through her brains. She's basically an assassin on a mission. She wants to become the cyborg, the killing cyborg assassin. That's what she's known for. And I'll tell you what, this comic is a great introduction. If you don't know anything about Nebula, if you haven't watched Guardians of the Galaxy or haven't watched Avengers, number one, where have you been living under a rock? Number two, why the hell haven't you seen them films? And number three, this is a great introduction into the world and life of Nebula. She's basically an assassin on a mission. She's after this all-seer system that can basically tell you the future, predict coordinates of where things are going to be, projections and everything like that. Long and short of it is, she gets into it all. She gets it implanted into her head by the guy who made it. Another guy comes up. I think his name's Devos. I think it's Davos. Let's go with Devos. It's not Game of Thrones. We'll go with Devos. He also wants to get this system. He's unlucky enough. Them two start fighting. It doesn't end well. Nebula ends up smashing this guy, jumping on this ship, flying out of wherever they are, flying in, crash landing this ship. Boom, all hectic, all hell breaks loose. She wakes up. This person who saved her is like, you need to stay where you are. Please tell me, if you can remember your name, tell me what your name is. And Nebula wakes up and goes, I don't know. This is a story, it's basically an introduction story of Nebula's story. She's a cyborg assassin. She's got the traits of her father, Thanos. She's going from galaxy to galaxy, killing people, getting what she wants. It's a pretty good story. I'm not going to lie. It was an all-right read. It wasn't the read of the week. It wasn't massive. It wasn't nothing to shout about. I did love it. But yeah, I'll be collecting it. I'll be adding it to my pull list just as a casual pickup and put down read, as I said about the Harley Quinn. It was an alright comic. Hopefully it leads on to her meeting the Guardians of the Galaxy, meeting Gamora, building a relationship. Hopefully, you never know, we might get to see Thanos. Fingers crossed on that, because I would love to see him appear in this comic. And I'd love to see the Guardians of the Galaxy and who else is ever going to appear. It's a great comic. It's a number one to start into. Number one, number two comes out in about 3 or 4 weeks. I think hopefully it's not too long, because I think this is one of them comics that if it's not coming out consistently, you're not really going to be interested. But as I said, give it a read. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let me know. Now, we're going to go on to the digital side of things now. My absolute read of the week, it was an emotional, tear-jerking comic, was Batman Pennyworth R.I.P. R.I.P. to one of the most amazing, significant characters in Batman's life. I mean, obviously, Batman's mum and dad died in the well-known crime alley, Park Row, and Alfred was there to pick up the pieces. Alfred has been there from the start of Batman's life. From the start of the Dark Knight's career, he has been there from start and what we thought until finish. But this comic was emotional. It was deep. It was an affectionate memoir style type of comic. I mean, Arthur Pennyworth is an amazing character, and it's clear to see that he had an effect on not just Batman, but he had an effect on Robin, Nightwing, Batgirl, Barbara Gordon, Batwoman. He had an effect on everyone, even Catwoman. And this comic is obviously about reliving all the memories that they have and that they've been affected by Alfred. There's some really key poignant moments in there where Barbara Gordon relives her moments, Robin relives his moments. Nightwing not so much, because obviously instead of being Dick Grayson now, he's now Ray Grayson, because he got that bump to the head and he's moved to Bloodhaven. But it all kind of starts, the introduction to the comic was fantastic. They're all standing at the statue of Bruce Wayne and Alfred, and it starts with them reliving, or all coming together for one day and one night without their masks, without having to save the city, just being together, being normal people, reliving or living out his final wish of the Batman family coming together and just being a family and hopefully becoming stronger through it. And I have to say that they find a pub that's really close to them, they sit there and they just talk, and I think Alfred was kind of hoping that they would become stronger and closer for this, but as time goes on, as everyone's memories come to the forefront and they talk about their feelings, that's kind of not the case. And unfortunately, what started as such a close-knit community of the Bat family, as we see each individual member of the family leaving, I think it comes down to Barbara Gordon, Batwoman, Batgirl, and Bruce Wayne, and they kind of just sit there and they're talking, and she turns around to him and says, you need to realise what's actually happening with everyone, not just yourself, so you can move forward. And it was a really, really strong comic. I really enjoyed it, and it was a tearjerker, and it was quite emotional, because you think Alfred has been so involved in everything that Batman does, in everything Robin does, Nightwing does, Barbara Gordon, the Oracle, everyone. He was kind of the pillar that held that family together. Everything ran through him. He was like the blood that held the family together. Everything ran through him. Yeah, Batman is Batman. He is the chief, the owner, the family, the hierarchy of the family. He is the one that, the Gotham's Dark Knight, the saviour in the dark. But Alfred is the one that worked tirelessly behind the scenes to make sure everything was there. And I was reading the comic, and if I can't be the only one that was like, is he really dead? Is he really gone? There's going to be a massive twist and turn. There's going to be a massive twist in this comic. Going to be the biggest twist that's ever happened in a Batman comic, and Alfred's going to be alive. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. It's gutting. He's not coming back, and it's going to be interesting to see what Tynion actually does going forward with the comics. I mean, it was a very poignant moment in Batman 83 where Bane brutally snaps Alfred's neck in front of Robin, and I think the fact that in Pennyworth, R.I.P., Robin feels so guilty because he ignored all the things that that Bane was telling to him, don't come and enter, otherwise I will snap his neck, and he thought he was doing the right thing, and unfortunately it worked out that wasn't the case, and due to his actions Alfred died. But I mean, I think no one blamed him for that, even though he thinks they blame him for it. No one blames him for it. They all kind of get together, they all rally round, and at the end of the day I think they will all come together. And there was a very touching moment. The comic ends with Batman sitting alone in his bar as Bruce Wayne. There's no one around, everyone's had their moments, everyone's had their memories, they've all left, and he's sitting there and he literally just gets up, and as everyone's been going, they all cheers a glass. And Batman is sitting there with his whiskey, or because he doesn't drink, his glass of water, whatever it is, and he gets up to cheers, and because there's no one left in the room, he goes over to the place in his bar, picks up a picture, and it's the Bat family with Alfred sitting like the king in the middle of them, and they're all round around him, and he literally says to Alfred. That was, I think, that was kind of like the piece de la resistance. That was like Batman finally saying, I'm going to become the person, the Dark Knight that you have always wanted me to be. I will now step up, and Gotham will be a place that I will be in charge of again. And I tell you what, it was an amazing, amazing comic. I loved it. It was my read of the week. Fantastic. It was only a one-shot, but it was such a great comic that I'm still thinking about it now. I've read it 3 times since it came out last week, and every time it still chokes me up. Great comic. Next up we have, what do we have next? We have got Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey. Now, it's a DC Black Label comic. It was a one-shot, and it was bloody fantastic. Last Thursday, for Valentine's Day, me and Mrs. Geeky Guy Comics, we went to finally see Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey. I'm going to call it that because the Birds of Prey and the Fantastic fantabulous emancipation of the one Harley Quinn. That's been changed due to marketing reasons. So it's now the name of the comic, Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey. This comic's great. It really was great. The only thing, and a bit similar to the film was fantastic. I'd go back and see it 3 or 4 times. Margot Robbie does an absolutely fantastic job of portraying Harley Quinn in the way that we all know and love. She's very similar to the comics. She's erratic. She doesn't know what she wants to do, but everything always comes right in the end. In this comic, it's kind of the same thing. It's an adult-aimed, themed kind of comic. It starts off with like poison ivy and they're on a beach and stuff like that, and I loved it. I did like it. It was a really good comic, but it kind of like, by the time the comic was getting good, the Birds of Prey hadn't really been introduced, and I feel like it needed to be more about Harley Quinn and the relationship with the Birds of Prey, instead of Harley Quinn getting in a load of shit, having to go back to Gotham where she's got a hit out on her head, so everyone's going to want to kill her. There's a really, really great picture, which I'm going to show now, of the Joker answering to a call saying, oh, she's come back. Well, we know what's going to happen now. So red lights are flashing. Everyone's got the hit out on Harley Quinn. They're all fighting for the money to go and kill her. And what transcends is an erratic, massive fuck dump of a fight that happens on a train. You've got Black Canary shows up. You've got, who else shows up on the train? I think you've got, it's Black Canary. Who else shows up? You've got, I can't remember for the life of me. I really can't. It's another member of the Birds of Prey. But honestly, that's what I mean about this comic. It was so erratic that not one part stands out. And I mean, I'm a massive, massive Harley Quinn fan. Everyone knows that by now. But unfortunately, this comic didn't really do it for me. It was okay, but is there going to be another issue? I think there is, but there needs to be more involved. It needs to be more focused around the Birds of Prey. Similar to the movie. As the movie started getting good, it ended with about a 10-minute version, a 10-minute preview of the Birds of Prey and how they come to get together, and it was only them 3 fighting on their own instead of Harley Quinn joining them. So I feel this comic needs to go the same way as that. The comic needs to tie in a lot more. You need to see a relationship between Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey and how they're all going to act together. But other than that, it was alright. Superman Heroes, now that is another story. That was wicked. I'm bringing the energy for this Superman Heroes. I bloody loved it. It's a one-shot. It was fantastic. It was basically, Superman was like, I'm now going to reveal the fact that Clark Kent is Superman. He introduces it to the world. He lets the world know. It's a fantastic comic. Seriously, it was wicked. I can't describe how much I loved it. I literally wanted to do what Booster Gold did. I wanted to go up to the highest mountain and just scream, Clark Kent is Superman. Like, seriously, great comic. I'm not going to go too much into it, but fantastic. Massive, massive week last week. Really big. But for me, Batman Pennyworth, if you haven't checked it out already, make sure you've got the tissues at the ready, because it is a tear-jerking, emotional rollercoaster ride of everything that Batman stands for. Guys, that was week number 7. Sorry it's a bit late. I've been very busy. It's going to be another busy week for Geeky Guy Comics. We've got a lot of stuff joining, a lot of stuff going on. If you didn't see my poster that I put up on Wednesday last week, I'm proud to present that Geeky Guy Comics has now gone into partnership with Sona Toys. We've got massive, massive things planned for that. We've got giveaways, we've got competitions, we've got partnerships, we've got unboxings, we've got reviews, we've got the lot coming up for Geeky Guy Comics and Sona Toys, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Coming up tomorrow, we've got week number 8. It's Wednesday tomorrow, week number 8. Fantastic array of comics coming up. What have we got? We have got the likes of, who have we got coming up this week? We've got Guardians of the Galaxy number 2. We've got Batman 89. Have we got, no, we haven't got Batman 89. Batman, yes it is, Batman 89 is coming out next week. Guardians of the Galaxy, Batman 89. What else have we got? I can't even think, do you know that? I can't even think. And on that note, do you know what? I'm going to end it. I'm babbling a bit. I'm not very well. I've been suffering from migraines this week. It's fantastic. As always, if you want to subscribe, like and share, let me know. I'm doing the YouTube. I'm doing the Twitter. I'm doing the Instagram. Guys, check me out. I love you all. And I tell you what, in the words of the greatest WWE wrestler, if you smell what the Geeky Guy Comics is cooking.